Daniel's face was marked by restless nights and constant worry about the future. Widowed for 3 years, he worked 2 jobs, trying to keep the house afloat and make sure his young daughter had everything she needed. Life wasn't easy, but he never complained. That night, a heavy rain was falling on the deserted road. The sound of the drops hitting the car window was almost deafening, but what bothered him most was the thought that he should get home soon, get some rest before starting all over again the next day. That was when, in the middle of the fog, he saw a woman standing on the side of the road with a worried expression. He braked the car, stopped next to her, and without hesitation, offered her a ride. Her face was illuminated by the headlights, and he noticed the slight surprise in her eyes. She accepted, thanked him quickly, and got in the car. The conversation began without much expectation. Daniel talked about work, about the rain, and Laura, as if trying to adapt to the climate of the road, began to share a little about herself, albeit in a reserved manner. When silence fell, Daniel found himself wanting to talk more, wanting to share something from his own life, as a way to relieve the pressure he felt. He spoke of his wife, of how she had been the pillar of his life until the unexpected illness that took her from him in a short time. The pain was still fresh, and he was not ashamed to reveal it, as if he were confiding in a stranger. Laura listened attentively without interruptions, leaving space for him to speak. She seemed genuinely interested, which somehow made him feel lighter. He also told her about the sacrifices he made to ensure that his daughter would have a better future, although it was difficult to see a way out of her situation. Laura was silent for a few minutes, watching the road. The moment of connection was brief, but profound. When the car finally approached its destination, they both knew that this simple gesture of kindness would change something in their lives, even if, at that moment, they didn't know exactly what. The next day, Daniel woke up early as usual and went to work without knowing what was waiting for him. The weather was calm, and he, already accustomed to the routine, didn't pay much attention to the helicopter flying over his house. He thought it was something common, maybe some event or just a coincidence. However, when he arrived at his neighborhood, he realized that the helicopter wasn't there by chance. He parked the car and looked up at the sky. It was the helicopter he had seen before, but this time it seemed to be getting closer. Surprise took over Daniel when the vehicle began to descend slowly until it landed on the street in front of his house. The sound of the propellers cutting through the wind intensified, and before he could process what was happening, a person quickly got out of the aircraft. It was Laura, the woman he had given a ride to the night before. She was smiling, but something in her expression showed that something big was coming. Daniel stood there, not knowing what to do, trying to understand the situation. He could never have imagined that the woman he had helped so quickly, without even expecting anything in return, was the daughter of such an important figure. Laura approached him with a genuine smile, but also with a look of someone who carried something more. "Good morning, Daniel," she said, with a calmness that did not match the scene that was taking place. She then calmly explained that her father was Jonathan Smith, a well-known man in the city, and that she was on a personal mission to test whether people treated her differently depending on her status. Daniel was speechless. He would never have imagined that his simple kindness would have anything to do with such a great figure in society. Laura explained that for some reason, he had stood out among the people she had tested, and that for that, she wanted to reward him. She took a check from her purse for an amount that Daniel could barely understand. "This is for you to start your own business, Daniel," she said with a smile. "I know you have a dream of opening a clothing store. Now you can do it." He was silent, not knowing how to react. What was happening seemed surreal. A simple act of kindness had led to this turnaround in his life. In the days that followed, Daniel found himself in a whirlwind of emotions and decisions. Laura's offer seemed like a dream, but at the same time he felt a tremendous fear that something so unexpected and sudden was not real. He never imagined that his life could change so drastically just by being kind to a stranger. However, he knew that he could not waste this opportunity. After much reflection, he decided to take the plunge. He used Laura's money to open the clothing store he had always wanted. Although the path was full of challenges, difficult suppliers, high rent, and the difficulties of starting something from scratch, Daniel did not waver. He worked tirelessly, day and night, to make his dream a reality. Little by little, the store began to gain attention, and he found himself not only fulfilling his own dream, but also providing his daughter with a better future. His life, which had previously seemed stagnant, was now in motion, and he felt more alive than ever. As time went by, Laura continued to visit him sporadically, always with a smile and words of encouragement. She never treated Daniel differently, as if her family's wealth and status made her distant or unattainable. To her, he was a friend, and contrary to what he might have imagined, their friendship was not based on money or power, but on mutual respect and understanding. Daniel knew that Laura, despite her life full of privilege, was genuine in her kindness. She never made a point of flaunting her social status, and he was always grateful for that. The simple fact that she had chosen him to be part of her life in such a genuine way made him feel that perhaps in the end, all he needed to change his reality was to be authentic, to be himself. And even though his life was different now, he never forgot the reason why it had all happened: a simple gesture of kindness. The success of his clothing store was a direct reflection of Daniel's dedication and self-confidence. He was surprised by the strength he found within himself to overcome daily obstacles. Each difficulty became a learning opportunity, and little by little he realized that he was achieving much more than just a successful business. He was regaining his own self-esteem, something he had lost while mourning his wife. Each customer who came into his store was another small victory, another step towards emotional and financial recovery. And even as his business grew, Daniel never forgot how it all began, with a simple ride, a choice to be kind without expecting anything in return. He knew that life, no matter how difficult, had the power to surprise him in ways he never imagined. Daniel's friendship with Laura grew stronger over the months. She continued to support his journey, not only with money, but with words of wisdom and reassurance that he was doing the right thing. Daniel learned from her the importance of being honest with people, of never treating anyone differently because of their status or appearance. Life had taught him the hard way that what really mattered were the values and choices he made every day. He knew that by helping that woman on that rainy night, he had not only changed the course of his own life, but had also become a better person. He began to believe again in the power of kindness, and in the possibility that even in the darkest moments, destiny could surprise him in ways he never imagined. Time passed, and Daniel's store became a landmark in the city. He was proud of what he had built, but more than that, he felt that his life had completely changed. From someone who was marked by the pain of loss and the constant struggle to survive, he was now a man who knew what it meant to achieve something with effort and dedication. His relationship with his daughter also improved. She saw in him not only the father who cared for her, but also someone who, with courage, had managed to start over. The bond between the two grew stronger, and he knew that despite everything that had happened, there was a new path ahead. However, with each victory, he also felt the presence of Laura, who was always by his side, even from afar. She was proof that small actions can have a big impact, and that sometimes a simple act of kindness can change not only the destiny of one person, but also of everyone around them. One afternoon, when Daniel was starting to think about the next step in expanding his business, Laura showed up at the store. She was smiling, as always, but today she seemed different. He looked at her and noticed something in her eyes that he hadn't seen before, a kind of quiet gratitude, as if she were there to share one last important thing with him. She handed him an envelope with a simple card inside. "You don't need any more money, Daniel," she wrote, "but what you have done for me will never be forgotten. What I do is just a small return for all that you have taught me." Never doubt that the greatest gifts life offers are the ones we don't expect. Daniel looked at the card, feeling a mixture of gratitude and emotion. He knew that their relationship, built on respect and simplicity, would never be a passing thing. Their friendship was now a milestone in his life, and he knew that, although the future was still uncertain, he had found the strength to move forward. In the months that followed, Daniel's life moved forward, but in a more peaceful way. He had achieved the financial stability he had longed for, and more importantly, he had found an inner peace that had seemed impossible to achieve before. His friendship with Laura had become something he deeply valued. Although the circumstances had been extraordinary, he knew there was something genuine about their relationship. She had chosen him because of her kindness, but over time he realized that, in some way, she had also helped him find the strength to be who he truly wanted to be. She had not only changed his life in a material way, but she had made him see things in a different way. He felt freer, more capable of dealing with life's ups and downs, because he now knew that the choices he made every day had much greater power than he had imagined. Daniel, sitting at the table in his shop one night, reflected on everything he had experienced in the past few months. The rain outside reminded him of the moment he had taken that ride, not knowing where it would take him. He smiled thoughtfully and realized that the simplicity of his gesture had not only transformed his life, but also made him understand that true greatness did not come from wealth or power, but from the way we treat others. He knew that this would not be the last time life would surprise him. But as he looked at his shop, his daughter, and everything he had achieved, Daniel felt at peace. What he had not imagined was that a simple act of kindness done from the heart had the power to shape destinies. And that was, without a doubt, the greatest gift he could have received. Looking back on everything he had accomplished, Daniel couldn't help but remember the rainy night that had started it all. The simple act of stopping to help someone without expecting anything in return had triggered a change he could never have foreseen. Not only had he reclaimed his life, but he had also discovered something deeper. True strength lay in genuine kindness, in the willingness to reach out to others, even when life seemed hard. Daniel knew that no matter how many surprises life might throw at him from now on, he had something that no one could take away from him: the ability to do good and to believe that simple things can, in fact, change everything. And because of that, he was more prepared than ever for whatever the future held in store.